in terms of the latest from Fnatic CSGO, we obviously have two teams. One is the Pro team, which now is the team we had between late 2015 and August 2016, consisting of obviously Flasha, JW, Olof, Dennis and Crims. They struggled a bit, I would say. They maybe not reached their former glory, but still super stacked lineup. There's been a lot of learnings from the organization point of view, how to deal with certain team player issues, but also among the players themselves. I see them, they have grown immensely as people and as athletes and teammates. So although we haven't kicked off superbly yet, I see them, grinding through the practice, and sooner or later we're going to be up on the podium. As far as it goes with CSGO Academy, it's been more of a stable roster with only one player change since pretty much day one. We started this project actually a year ago, but we signed the roster in summertime 2016. Super happy about the progress. I think they now place themselves within top 30 in the world, which makes Fnatic super unique. We are very proud and happy about our CS and CSGO legacy. And now in 2017, the most competitive year of Counter-Strike, we do have two teams in top 30, and we hopefully want to improve that. But it shows also like the structure, the know-how we do have in the organization when it comes to this game, which we obviously are trying to replicate across the board and have replicated in, let's say, League of Legends. But yeah, it's a lot of things going on. Two very competitive rosters that I would deem stable now. They are also working very hard towards the next tournaments. Being a professional player in esports, I think it's a little bit, I would say, less challenging today in terms of like, okay, what should I do after my career? What does my family, what does the local society and whatever think about this? But yeah, surely you do see a lot of teams, including in Fnatic, that players obviously get older. They've been they're getting veterans. They've been professionals for many years. You mentioned NIP earlier, for example, that has people like players like Forrest and Getright. You do have Virtus Pro, obviously, Taz and Neo, for example, among other players that have been around for a very long time. Actually, I played Neo in one of my first LAN tournaments in 2004, I think, which is now like 13 years ago, which is super amazing for him to be able to run such a long career. When do you know when it's time to stop? And when do you know that from an organization standpoint is the million-dollar question, right? You do not really know, but you need to further assess. And ultimately, I mean, the thing you need to identify is what drives these players, what's the level of motivation, what's our options, and so forth. I mean, we see a lot of pro players now successfully moving into coaching role. In certain cases that maybe should be advised, but I can definitely feel and understand the players that are playing for decades and continuing even in the event of not having as much success as maybe Forrest had, for example, and Getright for that sake in 2013, 14, etc. They still kind of got it. It's just that there are different eras. It's hard to stay as consistent, as successful over time. But I mean, we saw NIP having a good run, I think, in earlier this year and late last year, for example. I think they were ranked number one at HLTV, but that was a very short thing. But yeah, I mean, it's a long answer to this question, but ultimately you need to have a good gut feeling when's the time to, put someone on a benching or a coaching position, but also having an open conversation with these players that are maybe like think about stopping or not stopping, whatever. But all in all, as some kind of like conclusion here, esport compared to conventional sports, I don't think you have such a hard and sharp deadline when you need to stop, because it's less physically strainful. Over time, I think we're going to see pro players on the highest level, definitely 40 plus. I definitely see that, because you see that in other sports like golf, for example, which you probably have to be, you need to exercise in esports as well. But you get my drift here. But yeah, that's it. I mean, looking at the history of Counter-Strike, there's mostly always been a kind of like a age gap between, let's say, the strategical leader, the in-game leader in Counter-Strike, such as myself, and maybe the youngest player. But I think you're right in the sense that some of the top teams right now, they have like managed to stuck together for a while, which obviously means you're not open up the slot in your team. And also organizations, the way we work and how contracts now are, most commonly more than a year, which has been the standard esport duration, I would say, when it comes to contract. So yeah, people are, I mean, I'm maybe not speaking so much from Fnatic's point of view, because, I mean, or history the past year, because we have changed a lot of players in our pro team back and forth. But in general, I would say Virtus Pro, obviously, they have a 4 years contract. They're going to probably stick around together as they are today for many years to come. And that means if you are a young Polish player, you need to kind of find your way into the professional circuit by joining maybe a mouse sports or a multinational team like FaZe, or creating another, or working for another Polish or CIS team. But I think organizations can also do more in terms of like creating a platform for younger players. So Fnatic, for instance, we have been creating an academy program simply called Fnatic Academy, where we have 5 very talented player and a very talented coach, working day and night. And today they have a little bit, I would say, grown out of their shoes in the sense that they have full-time salaries, they are top 30 in the world. But I would also say that's a strategy for us going forward. Now we have 2 teams in CSGO. Will we have maybe a 3rd team down the road for even younger players? So similar to a sport team, you maybe start a little bit younger, right? With obviously a different amount of pressure, because you don't want to put a 13-year-old maybe playing 40 hours a week, you go physical exercise, whatever, you use stepping stone, right? So I think everyone has a certain, primarily the tournament organizers and the teams has a responsibility to open up the platform and the path to become a pro in CSGO. That has failed a bit as of today, but we are thinking about it. We are doing certain actions to kind of like to open up the doors basically for more talent, because there's just so many players out there. So yeah, it's true. Yeah, there are more up-and-comers, newcomers in League of Legends. You see them way faster go into the pro circuit, but yeah, due to the reasons I mentioned, that hasn't been that common in CSGO of late.